everyone, it's Hannah here from Virtually Fluent. Welcome to today's video, which is an English pronunciation video all about the topic of intonation. We're going to look at what intonation is, the 3 different types of intonation in English, and lots of example sentences too. So let's get started with English intonation. Intonation is the rise and fall of your speech in English. Sometimes our voice can go up, but sometimes our voice can go down. It's the musical pattern of your speech in English, and intonation is so important for our communication in English because it conveys emotions, attitude, and intention on top of the actual content from an English sentence. Take a look at this example, really. If we have a rising intonation, really? You sound shocked, surprised, interested. But if you have a falling intonation, really? You sound disappointed or like you don't believe the person. So the intonation is really important because it can slightly change the meaning of what you're wanting to say. Now, it's important that intonation works alongside stress and rhythm. So intonation is the rise and fall of your speech. Stress is that some syllables are more important than others inside a word. And rhythm is that some words are stressed and others are unstressed within a sentence. So all 3 of these need to work really well together in order to achieve good English pronunciation. In English intonation, there are 3 important patterns that you need to know. We have falling, rising, and fall rising. So let's have a look at all 3 of those now with some examples. And if we start with our falling tone, which is where the voice drops at the end of a phrase or sentence, this generally expresses that we are sure of something. An idea is finished and complete. And this is used in particular for 3 situations: statements, commands, and WH questions. For example, my name is Hannah. I live in the UK. Sit down. Close the door, please. Where are you going? Where are you from? You can see in all of those examples that the intonation falls at the end of the sentence. The second type is the rising tone. So this is where your voice goes up at the end of the phrase or sentence. And this is the opposite. It expresses uncertainty, perhaps an unfinished idea, a little bit of doubt. And this is also used in 3 particular situations: yes/no questions, uncertainty, and surprise. For example, are you ready? Shall we go? You free tomorrow? This is the right form. You saw him? He did what? You can see that all of those have that rising intonation at the end of the phrase or sentence. In general, rising intonation will keep the conversation going because you're sort of pushing for an answer. You're expecting the person to reply to you. For example, okay? You expect the person to reply yes or no. With that falling intonation, because it's a finished idea, it can often be the end of a conversation. Okay, end of sentence. And our third type of intonation is the fall rising tone. So this is where the pitch starts high and then it falls and then it goes back up again. In this case, the speaker is often hesitant and has quite a lot of doubt in their phrase. They come across as a lot less direct, and this is used for politeness and, as I've already said, hesitation and doubt. For example, I could help. Would you like some tea? I like it. Almost expecting a but after that. Maybe we should wait. I think it's okay. It might work. In all of those, you can hear the intonation falling before it rises again at the end of the sentence. Now, it's really important that you get the intonation right when you're speaking in English because you can change the meaning of what you want to say. Let's put all 3 of those intonation patterns onto exactly the same sentence. I can't believe it. With a rising intonation, I can't believe it. It's really happy and excited. With a falling intonation, I can't believe it, is disappointed, frustrated, or perhaps even that British humour, that sarcasm. And with a full rising intonation, I can't believe it. Doubt, hesitation, I'm not really sure whether to believe it or not. You can hear the 3 different patterns of intonation being used in exactly the same sentence completely changes how it's interpreted by your listener. To finish off today's video, we're going to look at a couple of special features when it comes to intonation. We're going to quickly review some tag questions, lists, a little chat about sarcasm, and we're going to look at contrast emphasis too. So if we start with tag questions, it's important to note that you can use both rising and falling intonation with tag questions. If you're using a rising intonation, then you almost expect an answer from the person. You're unsure, but you expect an answer. For example, you're coming, aren't you? If you use falling intonation, you already expect the answer to be yes. You're sort of not really expecting the person to respond to you. For example, you're coming, aren't you? The second important feature is lists, and that's because they have a really specific structure with intonation. Each item on the list wants rising intonation, and then the last item on the list wants falling intonation. This is exactly the same with numeration as well. For example, at the shops, I'm going to buy apples, bananas, pineapples, salad, and fish. I do want to draw your attention to sarcasm as well, because this will have a falling intonation, and it's quite important to over-exaggerate that falling intonation to really get that sarcasm across. For example, that's just perfect. Clearly far from perfect, but the intonation shows that sarcasm is being expressed. So the last important feature is the contrast emphasis, and this has a full rising intonation where we go down and we go back up again. We want the intonation to fall on the part of the sentence that is correcting or highlighting key information, and then we want to rise at the end on the information that you have changed. For example, I said I like apples, not oranges. So someone has clearly said that you like oranges, and that's the part of the information you want to change. So that's at the end, that's the rising intonation. The correct information is apples that you like. So to be more definite, we're going to have the falling intonation on that. So when you put it all together, it has the full rising intonation. So hopefully you can see that intonation in English is really important, because if you want to express yourself correctly, or you want your listener to understand you in the way you're trying to convey, intonation can help you do that. If you would like to practice English intonation, you can take our English pronunciation course on intonation, and I've left the link to that in the description below. Hopefully you learned something new today. If you did, or simply enjoyed today's video, go ahead and give us a like, a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn notifications on so you know exactly when we release our new videos on English pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, and also on British culture. That's everything for today. This is Hannah from Virtually Fluent, bringing English to life.